Greetings. I hope you are still enjoying the holidays, but that you're also doing some revision to prepare yourselves for term 3, especially for accounting. Okay, so just some revision of the general journal. We have to complete the general journal for June 2022, starting with the information provided. So what I'm just going to do here real quick, so I just want to add that this is June 2022. So we don't forget the date. Okay, starting with the information, we have a list of our outstanding debtors. So in other words, the debtors who purchased from us prior to the current month end, and they still owe us some money. The following transactions took place in June, but have not yet been recorded. So on the 1st of June, the owner decided to take merchandise, so in other words, trading stock, for personal use marked at 3,000 Rand. You must remember that whenever the owner withdraws any of the stock, he always does so at cost. So if it is marked at 3,000, it means that is the price that we have on that item on the shelf for people to buy. So we must first record the cost or calculate the cost of the trading stock in order for us to now record the transaction. Whenever it is a cash withdrawal, it will go to your CPJ because remember, all cash transactions must either go to the CRJ or CPJ, depending on whether you receive the money or made payment. In this case, the owner didn't take cash. He took something else. And as soon as it is something else, it will go to our general journal. So this is voucher number 1. On the first day, remember, you don't have to add the zeros. That's just me being me. Okay. And the owner took something. So the owner had withdrawals. That is drawings. Whenever we have more drawings, and remember, we take it to the drawings account because of the business entity principle. But whenever we have more drawings, it means that owner's equity is decreasing. And owner's equity decreases on the debit side, and that's why drawings will be debited. Drawings. So I prefer if you have your account debit first. I'm sorry, I don't know what that is. Okay. Drawings. And then what is he taking? He's taking trading stock. So we now have less trading stock. Therefore, we need to credit our trading stock account because trading stock is an asset and assets decrease on the credit side. The amount is the selling price times 100 because I want to know what the cost is divided by the percentage for selling price, and that is 100 plus profit markup. So oh gosh, that wasn't supposed to happen. Oh, my calculator isn't open, that's why. I just assumed it's there. So 3,000 times 100 divided by 150, that is 2,000 Rand. So 2,000 Rand more in drawings, therefore debit, 2,000 Rand less in trading stock, therefore credit. So there's no debtors here, therefore you will not have anything in your debtors ledger or the debtors control. No creditor, therefore also nothing in your debits or credits there. So you will only use these two if you either have a debtor that's affected or a creditor that's affected. Okay, if you do have to do narrations, remember narrations is just you shortly or giving a brief description of what the transaction is. If you have to do that, then you will just say owner withdrew trading stock. You can add at cost, but remember we try to keep the narrations very short. Okay, number 3. Or on the 3rd, we have interest charged on S Gunner's overdue account. Remember that when we look at our debtors, we need to remember that in the DJ, we only have new credit sales transactions. In the DAJ, we record whenever a debtor returns goods to us. Then in the CRJ, we will only record whenever a debtor makes payment towards their account. In the CPJ, it is when a payment that we received from a debtor is now being reversed, right? Okay, so if it is something else like interest charged on a debtor's account or a correction to a debtor's account, that will go to my general journal. So on the, on the 3rd, we now have journal voucher number 2. Right, so interest charge on his account, meaning that he now owes me more money. Therefore, I need to debit the debtor's account. So debtor's control is debited. Debtor's control. And remember to please add that debtor's name. And this is Gunner. The surname is sufficient. Ooh, not Gun. Okay, Gunner. Right? Why is his account increasing? It's increasing because of the interest on overdue account. So interest on overdue account. Okay, so it's not just interest, it's not interest income, please. It's interest on overdue account. Then remember that the rate that we give you for the interest, that is per annum, unless stated otherwise. So we are now doing this for June 2022. They didn't say that his account has been outstanding for longer than, or overdue for longer than this month. Therefore, we are only going to charge his account with 30% interest per annum for only 1 month. So let's go to the information. There we go. Is Gunner, now he's suddenly Gunner, he owes us 2,500. Okay. And we are, oh, it is Gunners. I only wrote Gunners. There we go. 2,500 at 30% per annum. However, we are only charging this for 1 out of the 12 months. We usually tell you how long it has been outstanding, but if not, then you can just assume that it was for 1 month only. So divided by 12. See, I don't like that. Okay, so I just want to double check. I do have the correct amount here. It is 2,500 times 30%. So divided by 100, there we go, but only for 1 out of the 12 months, yes. Okay, so I'm just going to round that up to 63. So I'm going to debit my debtor. He now owes me more money. The reason being there's more income that I generated because of that overdue account. Then I'm working with a debtor. Therefore, I have to go to the debtor's ledger, debtor's control, and I have to say that this debtor's account is now increasing by 63 Rand. No credit entry there. There's no creditor involved, therefore I won't use that. And then this is a general account. It's not debtors or creditors, therefore no debtors or creditors change there. Okay, right. Next up, Louis cannot be traced. His account must be written off as irrecoverable. So once again, that is a non-cash transaction. It's also not a new credit sale. Therefore, it goes to the general journal. Voucher number 3 on the 6th. He cannot be traced and his account must be written off as irrecoverable. Therefore, we have a new bad debts expense. Expenses increase on the debit side. We now have an increase in the expense because we have more bad debts. Okay. And then we are going to say that this person now no longer owes us the amount because we have written off their account. So we're going to remove it from that debtor's account with a credit entry. So debtors control, and this is Louis. Righto. So we're going to go up to his name. He owes us 880 Rand. They didn't tell us that it's only part of his account that must be written off. It's his full account. So the full 880 must be written off. Was 880, right? Holiday Brain. Okay. And he now no longer owes us, so we credit his account. So bad debts is a general account, but here we have debtors control. So we have to go to the debtors. On the credit side, we have to show that he no longer owes us the 880 Rand. So nothing on debit side because his account is not increasing. No credits affected there. Creditors affected there. So there we go. Okay. Then on the 8th, received an EFT from a singer for 1,888 Rand and allowed him 188 Rand discount. So in other words, we gave him a 10% discount. But this EFT was cancelled. So what happened here is we recorded in our CRJ, we recorded that we received 1,880 Rand. Then on top of that, we also recorded that we allowed him discount. But now for some reason whatsoever, this EFT has been reversed. So you now have to go to your CPJ and you have to say that I actually didn't receive this 1,880 Rand. So I'm going to include it in the CPJ so that the CRJ 1,880 and the CPJ cancels each other out. So we have a zero effect there. But then the discount allowed may not be reversed in your CPJ. You are going to reverse that in your general journal. So this is now voucher number 4, and this is on the 8th. So because the EFT was reversed, you've now added back the 1,880 to this debtor's account with a debit and credit your bank. The discount allowed previously, this was an expense. So you had a debit for your discount allowed, and then you credited this debtor's account even further. But now, because the EFT has been reversed, you are also going to reverse the discount allowed, and you are going to add the amount back to this debtor's account because you're not going to allow discount if he's not making payment. Oopsie. So debtors control, and this is singer. Right, and you are reversing the discount so you no longer have this discount allowed expense. So discount allowed. You're now reversing. Okay, and the amount that we are reversing is 188 Rand. So we're adding it back to his account. He owes us that amount, but we no longer have the expense, so we credit the expense. Then once again, you're working with the debtor, so you have to go to your debtors control here, or then the debtors ledger, and you have to say that I must add 188 Rand to this debtors account. No new credit there, and no creditors control affected. With your discount allowed, it's a general account, so no debtors or creditors for that specific account. Okay, moving on. A dividend of 20 cents in 1 Rand was received from an insolvent estate. So in other words, for every 1 Rand that this debtor owes you, you received 20 cents. So I'm just going to do this real quick. So I have space to write here. So in other words, for every 1 Rand that he owes you, you are going to receive or have received 20 cents. The amount received was recorded in the appropriate journal, but no further entries have been made. So he's insolvent, meaning that he will not be able to make payment to you apart from the 20 cents that you have received per 1 Rand. So you now need to know, without us telling you, that 80 cents for every 1 Rand that he owes you needs to be written off as a bad debt. They didn't give you the amount, but it's okay. We're going to find it in the information above. So this is now journal voucher number 5 on the 9th. You now have more bad debts, therefore debit the expense. And you are writing off this debtor's account, so he no longer owes you the money. So debtors control, and this is Mayberg, Afrikaans surname, or Myberg, right? So there we go. So it's a debtor, and his account was 1,300. So times 1,300 to see what you must write off now. Remember, you're not doing the CRJ, plus they've already told you that the CRJ amount has been recorded. You are only concerned about the GJ amount, the amount that you have to write off. So debit your bad debts expense account, credit your debtors control account. Right? Once again, this is a general account, so no debtors or creditors. But the debtors control account, you have to go to this debtors ledger and you have to say that he now owes you less money. So you're crediting his account, no creditors involved in this transaction. Okay. Then stationery to the value of 300 Rand was bought and paid for, but was posted, posted to the trading inventory account in the general ledger. Okay, so you definitely made this payment. So it's correct for it to be in your CPJ. That's not an issue. The issue here is that you then said, or you then allocated this to trading stock or trading inventory. It should have been in the stationery account. So you now just have to remove it from the incorrect account and then reallocate it to the correct account. So corrections are made in your GJ as well. So this is voucher number 6. So it's stationery that you purchased, so you must go and show it in the stationery account. So we're going to debit that expense account, stationery. Right? But you erroneously posted this to the trading inventory account. So correct your error by removing it from the account. And remember, even though we are used to trading stock, please use the account names provided in the question. So inventory, oopsie, inventory. There we go. So I purchased 300 Rands stationery, therefore I'm debiting my stationery expense account and I'm removing it from the trading stock because it wasn't trading stock by crediting that account. No debtors or creditors accounts affected in this transaction, so I'm not using those columns. So can you see it is fine to leave them blank? Right. Then on the 15th, an EFT for 4,200 Rand was made to one of our creditors, but it was erroneously debited to the account of one of our other creditors. So it's not the and co, it was actually then debited to the son's account. So the payment was made to a creditor. When we recorded this in the CPJ, we said we received it, we made the payment to the sons. Okay, so the payment was made. It should be in the CPJ. However, I shouldn't have debited this creditor because it was actually a payment made towards another creditor. So that means that I need to go and show the debit in the correct account because remember it's a creditor that I'm paying now. So that's why I'm debiting the account because liabilities decrease on the debit side. And it means that I need to go and credit the son's creditor because he was erroneously or in error then debited. And because it is a correction that I'm making, I'm once again in my GJ. So I'm going to debit the correct creditor because I don't owe him the money anymore. So creditors control, and you must write out the names. I'm now just going to shorten it because I didn't do a wrap text kind of thing here. And then I'm going to credit the creditor that I debited in error. So control, and this is sons. Remember, you cannot do this. You must write out the full name. Okay, and it was 4,200. So I'm debiting the creditor whom I don't owe the money to anymore. And I'm putting that 4,200 Rand back into the account of sons because I actually do still owe them the money. So it's not debtors, therefore I will ignore the debtors control. However, it is creditors. So I need to show that for co, I am debiting because I don't owe them anymore. But for sons, I'm adding that 4,200 back because I actually do owe them. Okay, I think we're almost done. Goods to the value of 600 Rand was donated, but not yet entered. So once again, if you donate cash, like with drawings, if the owner takes cash, it is CPJ because it's a movement in your money. But this is now movement in your goods once again, and that's why it goes to your GJ. So on the 15th, next journal voucher number, and you now have more donations that you made. Donations. Okay, it's an expense to you. You no longer have the trading stock, but remember they use trading inventory in this exercise, so we will stick to trading inventory for the name. Inventory, and the amount is 600 Rand. So add it to the expenses taken from your assets. No debtors or creditors in this transaction, so I will not use those columns. Okay. A Fisher's account was charged with 800 Rand interest instead of A Fisher. So what you did is you calculated interest for a debtor's account, but you then recorded that, so interest instead of, so you recorded this in A Fisher's account. It should have been A Fisher. Okay, so it's A Fisher's account that was charged instead of A Fisher. So you need to remove it from A Fisher's account and you need to allocate it in Fisher's account. So in other words, you need to increase Fisher's account because he now owes you. So debtors control. So it's not you now recording a new interest on overdue account because you've already included the interest on overdue account. You've already included that 800 Rand there when you recorded this against the account of A Fisher. You just need to remove it from A Fisher's account and reallocate to Fisher's account. So increase his account because you're charging, oh, not 600, that was the previous one. You're charging him with interest. So that means that you have to go to his individual ledger account and show the debit there as well. No credit, and he's not a creditor. Then debtors control, remove it from Fisher's account. So debtors control, and this is Fisher. So removing it from his account with a credit. So you need to go to his individual debtors ledger account and indicate the credit there as well. No creditors affected. Okay, last one. Let me double check. Yes. Okay. So Fixit was paid 5,000 Rand by EFT for repairs to equipment. So in other words, in your CPJ, you allocated 5,000 Rand to equipment, meaning that you debited equipment, or it's repairs to equipment. So debited repairs, and then you credited bank because you made a payment. But this amount was posted to the equipment account. Okay, so it should have been in your repairs account. That's an expense account, but you by accident then posted this to the equipment account. So you need to fix this error by taking it to the correct account. So it should have been your repairs, and that account is repairs and maintenance. So repairs and maintenance. I don't know why that M is like that now. Maintenance. Oh. Okay. It shouldn't be in the equipment account. It's not a new asset that you purchased. Remember, we only have new assets purchased in our asset accounts. And the amount is 5,000 Rand that I'm adding to the expense, and I'm removing it from the asset account because it's not a new asset. It's not a debtor or a creditor, so nothing goes into debtors and creditors. And that is quick revision of your general journal.